G'day legends, g'day superstars, Peps here, and I'm here with Tip Doubt's round 4 tips for a massive week of footy. And I'll tell you what, I wasn't too shabby last week, picking 6 out of the 8 games. So you want to tune in because I am the man in the know who knows how to win. And it's as simply like that. Cracking week of footy, we got back to the 9 games. Finally, we're back. No more buys. Everything's looking nice, hot, and sexy. And I'll talk about something. If you want to talk about what's hot and sexy, it's all going to be getting hot and sexy on Thursday night. This week, Thursday, the 28th of March, at the Jabba the Hutt, kicking off at 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, the Brisbane Lions versus the Collingwood Magpies. You couldn't ask for an absolute ball terror of a game. If I told you at the start of the season, round 4, the grand final replay would be played between 2 teams that are winless. Yes, the 2 teams that played off in the grand final are winless so far. This is going to be epic. Brisbane have been a shell of themselves. We know how they can be up and down like yo-yos. And I will say, Collingwood, I don't know what is going on there. I was going to use this in the podcast for this week's episode, but I'll chuck it out now. Jeremy Howe was like, Jeremy, I've got no idea. Darcy Moore is completely Darcy-less. And Big Mason Cox, well, he's just turning into Big Mason Flaccid. That is how bad the Pies are travelling. And I'm predicting, yes, I'm saying this right now, Pie supporters, you're not going to like me when I say this, but I'm predicting you to be 0-4 after this round of football with the Brisbane Lions getting their first win for season 2024. They need to kickstart something. And I will say, and I think everybody is going to say this, if you lose this weekend, Collingwood, your finals chances are in the bin. So I can't wait to see how this game rolls out. I just think Brisbane at home, they virtually were unbeatable last year. They threw it away against Carlton in round 1 or round 0. But we know how that one went, and I think that they will turn around and win this one. All righty, let's have a look at the next round of footy. Round 3 of the AFL season is the Fremantle Dockers versus the Adelaide Crows. Australian Western Time at 4:20 p.m. Friday, the 29th of March. I will say this, ladies and gentlemen, Fremantle have surprised a hell of a lot of us. They were great against Brisbane. Last week for the first half, they were atrocious against North, and I'll get onto North a little bit later on. And Adelaide, they're just poo. They are just poo. They've got a brilliant forward line, and they just do not know how to play football at the moment. And I've got to say, I think Fremantle will go 3-0. When I look at my premiership team from 2021, if there's one person I would love to have back on the park running around for the D's, it's got to be the big boy, Lukey Jackson, because he was BOG by the length of the Flemington Straight on the weekend, and he's just getting better and better. I don't know how they're going to fit Sean Darcy back into that team when he gets fit and firing, but Fremantle will definitely win this one. Adelaide, I just can't see them winning. They've shown me nothing so far this season to make me go they are a threat. And so I'm simply going to say that it will be Fremantle getting their 3rd win and surprising everybody so far this year. And I'll also go as far as saying Justin Longmuir, that extra 1 year, looking very nice at the moment. All right, the Good Friday game, the game for the kids at Marvell Stadium, the big clash, as it's now known as, North Melbourne versus the Carlton Blues, Friday, 29th of March, 4:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Carlton have had the week off. We know what they've done in the first couple of weeks. They've been brilliant. North Melbourne were pretty good for the first half last week, but they're just young. They don't have a backline. And until they get someone to replace Ben Mackay, they're going to find it really, really difficult to stop run-ons like they did last week against Fremantle. So I'm going to go with the Carlton with this one. Just the 2 prongs. Harry and Charlie is going to be too good in the guts there. It's going to be interesting to sort of see how the Carlton backline without Wiedering are going to stack up against Larkey, Zerha, Simpkin down there as well too. Eddie Ford, best name in footy. But I just think that they're going to be too strong. It's going to be a great little fight between the 2 midfields. I just want North to make it a contest at least for a half to 3 quarters, and I just think Carlton will run away with this. But if they're playing at the home decks of both clubs. And we know that should be a fast-flowing game of footy. And with those two teams, it's going to be an absolute corker. So I'm taking Carlton to tip this one, probably about 4 or 5 goals. It could be a little bit more, but I think it'll be tight for approximately 2 to 3 quarters if North decide to come out like they did last week against Fremantle. Rightio, talk about the edge versus the halo. It is Essendon versus St Kilda, Saturday, 30th of March, 4:20 p.m. at Marvel Stadium on the Saturday afternoon. Essendon, they showed a bit of edge against the Swans on the weekend, but edge does not get you wins, and they need to get those runs on the board. St Kilda, they are going to win this one, and they're going to win it quite easily. They are probably playing the best football besides Sydney and GWS at the moment. They are playing accountable, hard defensive football, but then they run in the opposite direction. Snags Higgins is having a fantastic year as well too. How good's Mitchie Owens, Windhager, Winganang, Malera, they've got just goodness, graciousness in the middle. Their backline, just Sinclair, he just doesn't, he's cut his mullet. And I think he should bring that back, and that would make a hell of a lot more of a difference. But they are just looking really nice up the forward line side of things. They're just looking great across the field. They're covering the ground really, really well. And you can see that they've got another preseason under Ross Lyon. Essendon, once again, you want to believe, but I need to see it. Lost to Hawthorn. Beat Hawthorn just by a smidge. Get beaten quite handsomely by Sydney. I can't see them really making a contest because St Kilda love playing at Marvel, and they should win this by 5 or 6 goals if they play like they have and don't get sucked into the bullcrap that Essendon might do with their edge tactics, if you know what I mean. All right, this is the Lace Out Shield. It is the Byron Pickett Cup, as we would say. Port Adelaide versus the D's. J-Dog versus Peps. Saturday, March 37 p.m. Adelaide time at the Adelaide Oval. We know that Stephen May is not going to be playing. Fractured rib, bit of a crack in the back. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jake Lever does not play either. Tomlinson will come in. McDonald can drop down back. Petty can go down back as well too, because we've still got Ben Brown down the forward line. Midfield is humming along nicely. They're getting the ball in there quick. Petrarca's back to his old self. Oliver gets another run into his legs. Sparrow played a very good game. Neil Bullen played a great game last week as too. So they're getting that roundness, and they're moving the ball a lot faster, not directly going down the lines. And their defense is holding up pretty well. I know it's going to be a bit of a shift with the two big guys not down there potentially this week. And especially when you've got people like Marshall, Dixon and Finlayson, it is going to be a challenge for the Melbourne backs. But I also think it's going to be a bit of a challenge for the Port Adelaide backs on the Ds as well too. But don't forget, when you got people like, we got Rosie running through there, Wines is looking magnificent, Boker's looking pretty good as well too, Butters as well. There's a lot to like. I'm tipping Port Adelaide by under a goal. And I think this is going to be won by, and when I say this, you'll know what I mean. It'll be won by the back lines. Whoever can hold out the other back line, I think will be able to stop this one. So I do think Melbourne small forwards look pretty good at the moment, but I just think maybe the loss of May and Lever might be too much of a gap to cover, especially against a cracking Port Adelaide team. So I'm going by less than a goal. All right, moving on to Sunday. Western Bulldogs versus the Wet Toast Eagles. We'll just move on really quickly. Harley Reid is a gun. That's it. West Coast of poo. Western Bulldogs, great to get a win against the Gold Coast Suns last week. They deserved it. They played some pretty good football. Good to see the little fella. And I forgot his name, but the number 6 with the number 3 with the Wakeman, Cody Wakeman, kicking a bag of 6. Fantastic. Bolt looked awesome. Libba looked awesome. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to seeing them win. They'll win quite easily. It's going to be at the Marvel Stadium, 10 goals. I reckon this one could be a 10-goaler. I think the Western Bulldogs have one in them. And Aaron Norton he has to fire because he hasn't really pulled the trigger in the last couple of weeks. He is due for a big game, and I reckon this could be it. And Sam Darcy, my goodness gracious me, does he look the goods as well? He is. All right, Richmond versus Sydney, MCG, 4 p.m. on Easter Sunday as well. Sydney put up a pretty good fight against Port Adelaide last weekend, but I just think that Sydney are going to be way too strong across the board, from backline to midfield to their forward line. Everything is just running well. James Jordan and Grundy have just stepped in perfectly. Heaney, Will he get off? Won't he get off? Well, we'll know if he's playing on the weekend. When you've got Warner, you got Papley, you got McLean, you got Haywood, you've got my Mr. Dreadlocks himself. I've gone blank. You got Logan McDonald running down there. They're just going to be too strong. You've even got the Lizard running off halfback. Richmond won't be able to stop that whatsoever. And this is going to be probably an 8 to 10 goaler, I reckon. If Sydney do what they're supposed to do in terms of grinding teams down, I just think that with the amount of injuries that Richmond have at the moment, they should break away and stream away with this one quite quickly. And like I said, 8 to 10 goals this one could get very, very ugly. Last game of the weekend, the traditional Easter Monday game, 3:20 p.m. at the House of Footy, the MCG, Hawthorn versus Geelong. Hawks are pretty average. They tried something different against the D's on the weekend. Didn't work. Geelong, they went over. They did the business against Adelaide. Tom Stewart, absolute gun. Dangerfield won't be there. That's okay. But when you've got Caravan, Hawkins, Clark running through the middle, they've got just so many options. They are going to win this one, win it quite handsomely. I don't think it's going to be close. This is going to be probably a 5 or 6 goaler at a minimum as well. And I did say that this is a full round of footy, but Collingwood and Gold Coast have got the week off. And I tell you what, Collingwood don't have the week off. They're playing on the other night. I got that wrong. So Gold Coast are not going to be there and somebody else. So it doesn't really matter. All I'm saying is, GWS and Gold Coast, they've got the week off, everybody. So it's only going to be 8 games, but they're going to be some cracking games to watch into as well too. So just remember, lace out every Monday night, 8 p.m. We're going to be going live on the Facebook channel, on the YouTube channel. Also, remember, like and subscribe. Tell everybody about us because we are pretty good at what we do. We enjoy our footy. We don't take it too seriously. We look at the lighter side of things, but we love a good debate as well too. And asking calm questions makes you part of the show as well too. So, I'm Peps, and that is Tipped Outs Round 3 tips for a massive round of footy. Hope your team wins.